Hello and welcome, I'm Tafaragadamu. There seems to be so much interest in creating new parks and maintaining old ones, and Addis Ababa University seems to be at the helm of it all. And my guest today, Dr. Araya Asfaw, is here to talk to us about two such parks, one in Addis Ababa and the other in Gambela. Welcome to the program, Dr. Araya.
Thank you.
Was it only last week that you inaugurated the Addis Ababa Botanical Garden?
Yes, the city of Addis Ababa, inaugurated the Botanic Garden last week. Yeah.
That's news to many.
Yeah.
Look, there were some plots, some enclaves, if you will, in Addis Ababa. You have, for example, the Bole Recreation Center or Park. You have the Lion's Den up in Sudus Kilo and a few other spots, but they're disappearing. And you have started... You've created a botanical garden which is a league of its own. That's quite news.
Yes, of course, the Botanic Garden is probably the first in Ethiopia, and also in terms of size, also it's probably one of the largest in Africa. It's a joint venture between the city administration and the Addis Ababa University, which started in 2006. And so this area will basically is going to be used for conservation, it's going to be used for education, research, and also even for recreation and for tourism for the city and those who are going to be visiting the city as well for tourists.
All we know about that location where you created this garden is just the eucalyptus trees all over. So you starting from scratch, right?
Yes, eucalyptus tree, as you know, has historically played a big role. If it wasn't for eucalyptus, Addis Ababa would not have existed. Yes, and it's the introduction of eucalyptus that actually contributed for the establishment of Addis Ababa as a city. However, now, the eucalyptus, we first of all have to find an alternative for fuel wood and for the city of Addis Ababa. And eventually eucalyptus has to go, and we have to regenerate the... Once you really uproot the eucalyptus, there is beneath the eucalyptus, there is already the original indigenous trees are still there, so they can regenerate on their own. And we've seen it in Toto, the heritage...
the Ethiopian Heritage Trust.
Yeah, what they did is they uproot the eucalyptus and... and also they planted the indigenous trees. Even the springs came back. So this is so the natural vegetation can recover if with the proper intervention. So what we really want to do in Gulale is protect it as conserve it, and then if you basically uproot the eucalyptus, the natural trees or plants will come back.
But why did you pick up that location? Because it would have been much easier and actually advisable to work on what others have started.
Well,
I'm thinking about what you just mentioned, the Toto, which was originally initiated by the Ethiopian Heritage Trust.
Well, that was already under the Heritage Trust, and this was a negotiation that took a very, very long time to identify a place for the Botanic Garden. Between Addis Ababa University has been negotiating with the city administration for the last 30 years, actually, in getting in the right place, especially the professors at the botany department, like Professor Insermo and Professor Sabsebe, has been really working hard in identifying the right place. And also the city administration, especially the Environmental Protection Office, also identified this place. And since it was under their their property, it was easier to allocate this for the Botanic Garden.
I mean, you said the whole project started 30 plus years ago?
The idea of establishing the Botanic Garden started about 30 years ago, yes.
And Addis is expanding tremendously fastly. I mean, the population is basically exploding. Your project, was it basically a race against time?
Yes, well, we are really racing against time because, as you said, Addis Ababa is expanding, and also the surrounding of Addis Ababa is really also, being converted to residential areas, and as you see that, especially the chain of mountains around Addis, starting from Ntoto, Gulalle, then Wachacha to Managasha, Yarar, all these are basically the water tower of Addis, and also Wachacha especially is the water tower of Awash River. And
it's nearly gone.
Yeah, and it's not too late, but the idea is to reconnect this chain of mountains, and it has a number of advantages. First of all these areas are contentions between the city of Addis Ababa and Oromia, and if you really declare this as a protected area, then this conflict will be somehow resolved. Secondly, also, if you really rehabilitate this chain of mountains, then the water availability of water for Addis Ababa will increase significantly, and also the microclimate will change because long time ago, over 100 years ago, all that area were covered with junipers. All this, that was even when I grew up in that area. I remember that the climate was quite different. So over the last 100 years, it has been transformed, and as Addis Ababa city is also expanding, unless we protect that area, the protected area, then it will be gone. So,
but how swiftly have the people in the administration, I'm talking about the Addis Ababa administration, came aboard? I mean, do they really understand? Because as I see it, Addis, with all the construction going on, it seems like they are in search of quick money, which you cannot easily find if you're looking into developing some kind of a garden, which is the type of garden that you are working on. I mean, that doesn't bring in quick money. So I'm trying to see whether people in the administration do really grasp the very essence of your initiative.
Well, let me put it this way. The people or the administration at the time were convinced, okay? It's just a matter of timing. At that time, the city mayor, Mayor Arkaba, and also the university president, Professor Andreas, were both actually understood the significance of the idea of having a botanic garden and protected that area, and they signed the agreement. And because of that we managed to protect it and keep it. Although after that, maybe even the administration, it might be difficult once it's put in place to change it. But I would say even the administration now are very much, the mayor is very much in favor of the protecting this area. So in that sense, the city administration do understand the significance of having a protected area around Addis.
When is the botanical garden going to be the destination for Addis Ababans, do you think?
Well, it's
going to take some time.
It's going to be it's a big project, okay, and it's not simply a park. I mean, it's our benchmarking for the botanic garden is one of the best botanic gardens in South Africa, Stellenbosch. So to develop it in that way, it will take a long time, and it also requires a lot of investment. So this botanic garden investment, unless it's linked with research and education, it may not be sustainable. That's why it has to be linked with the university program, so that we can mobilize funding for the maintenance and development of the garden, and at the same time the city also can benefit from it. And so I would say in the next 5 years it will develop. Already there are some, even to go out there and visit nature is something that I really enjoy, and most people also do enjoy when they go up there. So but the project will last maybe for another 5 years, but it will be developed fully by then.
But your institution, the Horn of Africa Regional Center for Environment of the Addis Ababa University, is also involved, I understand, in Gambela, the Gambela National Park. I mean, are you out there to save it?
Well, the Gambela National Park is probably one of the, the largest in Ethiopia, of course, and our aim is also in Gambela. We're not there only to save the park. We are there to, again, for a number of reasons. One is to make sure that Gambela is developed sustainably and holistically. So this involves the, Gambela offers, one of the largest wildlife. It offers one of, the remaining tropical forests in Ethiopia. It also has, quite large biodiversity, and it also offers opportunity for mining, oil exploration, everything. So Gambela has to be developed holistically. If you want to develop all these resources, you really have to balance it. So our aim is,
it's very difficult to strike a balance.
Yes, but that's what our role is as educators and as researchers. We just want our objective is to make sure that this is done in a proper way. And you can do this, of course, very difficult, but you have to work with all parties involved. Especially you have to partner with the regional government and also the people of Gambela, because they own this. They have to make the decision after all. So we work very closely with the regional government, and at the same time also all sectoral ministries. Ministry of Water and Energy has interest. Ministry of Agriculture has big interest. Ministry of Mines the same. But all the sectoral ministries have to come and see how they can benefit from it in a holistic way. So our role is basically to create a multi-stakeholder platform with all stakeholders involved, and then develop a land use plan for the sustainable development of Gambela.
But you are primarily interested in saving the park, right? Because if you don't do something about it, it's going to go.
Yeah, the park is, of course, we are currently focusing on the park because some of the large-scale investment are actually affecting the park. And, the wildlife migration extends, this white-eared crops basically migrate from Ethiopia.
These are antelopes, right?
Antelopes.
The mass of antelopes that migrate annually, second to the wildebeest.
Yes.
In Kenya-Tanzania border?
Yes, and it's, it could even be the first, but right now, at least based on our study, we consider it to be the second largest migration. But eventually now, after the war in Sudan stopped, this migration is really increasing. So in the future, it could even be the first. But anyway, right now, the threat is, there are many activities, which do not take into consideration of the existence of even such a wildlife. So our objective is to show that this protecting of this wildlife, the significance is for tourism, one. Secondly, also this wildlife migrate between Sudan and South Sudan and Ethiopia, and it's also a transboundary problem. And unless it's handled properly, that it might even be a source of conflict. So what we are doing is to develop a transboundary program between South Sudan and Ethiopia, where the parks on both sides are demarcated, and these animals basically move freely. And at the same time, you can do that only by protecting the biodiversity in that area. So this is again one of the resources that Gambela offers, apart from other opportunities such as mining or oil exploration or agriculture.
But there is that fine line between the three. I mean, you have the livelihood of these people, the people of Gambela who survived basically on what is today park offers, and you have investment going on, and at the same time you have the park coordinating the activities of those three, and actually delineating, drawing a line between these three is very, very difficult.
Yeah, it is difficult, but this is the only way you could do it. That's why you have this environmental governance, because, all parties, it's for the benefit of the agriculture. If Gambela is developed in a sustainable way, agriculture will be sustainable. But if you can only develop one sector of the economy, then there's a threat. That's why we want to see first where is agriculture suitable in Gambella.
Have you helped define that?
We are now in the process of defining. That's why we have now a multidisciplinary team, experts from both national and international. And our first aim is to develop a proper land use plan for Gambella. And then that land use plan has to be respected by all parties. And then development has to be geared, based on the master plan. And if you do that, then you can protect Gambella as a whole, and at the same time also develop it, and the people will benefit from it, and also the country as a whole will benefit from Gambella.
Again, are you too late in doing that, you think?
No, we're not too late. We're not too late.
There's something to be salvaged.
Yeah, of course we have started this already. We've been involved in this for the last 3-4 years, and so far, there were some, as you know, that the interest in Gambella was in the last few years, and of course, as also road access to Gambella is developing, and
it was basically impregnable.
Yeah, and then also now with South Sudan and Gambella would be is a lot to offer, but at the same time also it has to be handled very carefully. Otherwise, it's very fragile. It's a wetland; it can be damaged very easily. And that's why we are here to have a holistic approach to develop it, and then all parties basically benefit from it.
So you're saying all parties that matter in this case are sitting together and talking about this and are seriously involved in designing what could possibly be one of the great master plans in this country.
Yes, that's why the universities play a big role, because they are not there, they are give advice based on research, and so that decision makers as well as the private sector basically make an informed decision. So our role is to give advice both to the policymakers and all to stakeholders, the private sector as well as the government officials, so that the development is sustainable and also ensured in a holistic way.
So what do you think would happen 10 years down the line? Because I'm interested in talking in decades.
Well, we are...
You're going to have a first-class national park in Gambella, because that also involves expertise and finance and you name it. Because as far as national parks are concerned in this country, we basically don't have. There is no way we can talk about national parks. I've been to most of them.
Yep.
I'm not impressed.
Yep.
Are you aboard?
Well, in this case, we are there in a serious way, because our partners are, we have partners, for example, the African Park, which is working with us. They have developed most of these parks in Africa. And we are working with them so that, nationally, there is a capacity to manage and develop, run this park, based on, international standard.
Well, very interesting point, but they have failed once in the past. In Najjar National Park, there is that interesting idea that you've brought forward.
Transboundary.
This is a transboundary resource.
Well, the Najjar is a different story. I mean, that's something, why they failed is not because of their capacity to manage the park. There are many other factors that they decided to withdraw from managing the park because of some of the conflict which needs to be resolved in the first place. But anyway, in this case, in terms of capacity of managing the park, there's no doubt African Park has a lot of experience, and they have been doing this for many years. So that's why you need to partner with them. But at the same time, we are here now to facilitate. Okay, that's why you need to have this multi-stakeholder platform with all parties involved. Especially now, the ownership goes to the regional government. The regional government decides. If the regional government decides on how this park or how the region should be developed, then all the federal ministries should basically give support to that.
But it is a national park, isn't it?
It is a national park. It's a national park, but still, if it's a national park, it still belongs to the people of Gambella. It's managed by the by the Ethiopian Wildlife Conservation Authority, but the ownership belongs to the people and the regional government. So they are the one who decide not only for the park, but for the development of the regions. That's why, first of all, you have to basically support the regional government in every way you can. And also, our aim is to mobilize all the resources that's required for the development of Gambella as a whole, not only the park. So the people benefit, and also the regional government also benefit.
So in a nutshell, you're saying that the future is bright.
The way I see it, it's bright, because one, the regional government is very much interested in the idea. The federal ministries, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Culture and Tourism, are very much interested. And at the same time, also the donors or the funders, the European Union, and also for other bilateral and multilateral donors are very much interested in participating in the development of Gambella as a whole. So we facilitate this.
Well, thank you very much and good luck. It's quite a project.
Thank you very much again.